Thank you for that. That's cool. Cheers, Paul. Okay. I came into this quite late in the day. Most of you will know much more about Ron and his poetry than I do, but I'm in the delightful position of being a publisher for this particular book. Here's a picture, and I should be showing, yep, um, I should be showing as the main speaker. So let me see if I can get that sorted out. Speaker, yeah, that's me. Okay, let me start properly. I was fortunate to be working with Simon Lickman. I've published one of his books, and we were talking about another one. And he told me that he would like me to have a look at the work of Ron Price. And because Simon's a friend, I went, yeah, absolutely. And then I actually read Ron's poems and was seriously interested in publishing them. And you will see, if you're not familiar with them, that these particular poems focus on his time in the Mississippi Delta. I'm going to read an introduction. I hope you'll forgive me, but this is a poet whom I'm only just getting to know. Ron Price, author of Desire and Death in Nonconnah County, an American poet known for his work exploring Southern life, family, racism, and spirituality. Ron has lived and worked in New York City, where most of you have met him, including time as poet in residence and teacher at Juilliard. Here comes somebody else joining. Co-founder of the Free People's Poetry Workshop and participated in the following programs: Poet in the Parks, Poet in Prisons, and Poet in the Schools. And he's worked as a visiting poet in Israel, India, and Belgium. His previous publications include Surviving Brothers, Blues for Kay, A Crucible for the Left Hand, a small song called Ash from the Fire, and a true account of the failure of bodies to burn. His poems are widely published in journals. The poems in this pamphlet collection reflect his southern upbringing in the Mississippi Delta, and they have a powerful connection to nature and unseen forces. And that's why Pale World Press is interested. It's not just that they're brilliant poems, but they're poems of place. They're very intensely based in the area where he grew up. And you feel you're there with the boy that he was, and not just looking at nature, but being inside nature. We're part of it. This is terribly important if we're going to fix the climate crisis, as well as looking after people who are affected by refugees experiences. Pale Press, which I probably should have told you before, is focused on books about human rights, environment, and lost well-being. And having the chance to publish Ron's poetry is an enormous experience for me. I don't know very much about American poetry, besides the kind that you read when you're in school. And suddenly I'm enveloped in these wonderful poems. As you'll see this evening, if you're not familiar with the particular poems that we're going to be reading, these are exceptionally moving and haunting poems, in very much in the haunting sense. So I'm going to hand over to Ron in a minute. He will read some poetry, and then each of us will hand over to the next person, and eventually it will come back to me. Ron, thank you so much for agreeing to be published by Pale Press. And I'm going to mute myself. If you can unmute your, that would be good.
Ok, Well, I'm glad a whole lot of people showed up for this. It's always a drag when you get two people to poetry reading and two of them are the poets reading. I'm, I'm not going to do a lot of explaining what's going on in these poems, but you should know something about the title. Um, and Nonconnah Primitive is one of the poems inside of this book, and they are all related some way to a place called Nonconnah County, which is south of Memphis and north into Mississippi, at the very top of Mississippi. Um, this is called Nonconnah Primitive. Winter Light says it is safe here on the rotting hull of the John boat, upside down and moored half in water to weeds, dead leaves, and mud said farewell to over and again. Isn't this what it means to come home? Sun low in the sky beyond the levee, an eagle crossing over the water, its wings curved toward dusk. Isn't this an image to remind what remains nothing is forever? Not the solitary boy on the far shore, slowly reeling in his line, not the winter reluctance of bass, not even this boat snakes claim, April light, August dark, safe or not. This boat, this abandoned snake haunt echoes wind rippling lake water and light. The eagle, flown into its shadow, glides past the levee, and the boy on the far shore stands where I stood 17 winters before. He waves to me with his left hand, casting his line, dispensing blessings on the wretched muck and dreck of a heart where bass in the still depths wait. This is called Song for the North Star. What do you mean? Sound or visual?
Sorry. I'm just trying to, oh dear, okay. So you have to keep your chin up because I couldn't see your face at the bottom.
Okay.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm really sorry.
Okay. Try this again. This is called Song for the North Star. Raising my left hand into the amber air between the sun falling and the risen moon, I waved to whatever was there. No one responded, so it was probably my father. It's years since I spoke to the North Star, years since my father died. I brought my hand back from the in-between air of twilight, closing around 1,000 separate lines that cross in the palm of my hand. I call my hand, the way I say my father, the way I say my life, without any sense of who he was or why I'm here. This is the hardest thing for me about Zoom is the silence that it engenders. This is called First Story. What I meant to say got lost in the river. It rose from the shoreline among tree stumps, beer cans, and cigarette butts, shards of bottle glass, the abandoned skin of a water moccasin. It drifted off, hovering above the water, as if to compose itself, started to whirl and spin, got sucked below in the seething drag of and swinge of the of an undertow. I must have stood a long time on the shore while traffic crossed the bridge, driving into the evening sun. I knew what I did not say then. I knew the river said it better. It had to do with beginning and ending and beginning again. The snake, the beautiful snake, said it milky with the paste of mucus and dead cells slipping from under a cracked slab of concrete in ragged, undulant lines toward the water, as if it were hungry and knew what to do. It went into the river looking for a frog or a fish, or maybe just to avoid the heel of a son of Adam. I'll do one more. Um, this is called 10,000 Memos. And I'm not going to read all 10,000 of them, so you're safe. Memo 6278. A man runs a few miles sweating through his clothes, unashamed. Number 1083. Honeysuckle, and every leaf on the vine brown as the head of a horsefly. 4516. Standing at the crossroads, one once, one way. There isn't. Number 743. Pouring out a bucket of turpentine on the honeysuckle bush. She knew what she was doing. 9,397. This light is like no other. The silhouette of branches thrashing the window, the moon smiling with its one tooth. So that's some of what this book is about. And now we have Kate Irving to read.
But I just ask Ron, we
Yeah.
have people joining. I'm going to admit them, and you're going to mention the workshop.
Right. One of the reasons I'm so happy about this reading, doing this reading, is because we've got a group of us have a workshop that has been going on for, it seems like a decade. And they are all reading today. I asked them to accompany me. And the next one that's going to read is Kate Irving. There is a ruthless truth teller that compels Kate Irving's temperament, as well as a poet and a poem. In the poems she writes, ruthlessness balanced by a delicacy that produces lines like, night like these, I want it back, that febrile, breathless moment, the arsonist's daughter, he kindled the dark. Kate Irving's work has been nourishing my life for years. So I'm glad to be able to introduce her. Kate, speak to us.
Okie doke. I'm very pleased to be part of this and a part of Ron's life. And he is why I write poetry, pretty much. This is a beautiful poem that comes towards the end. It is the end of this book. How long I have been wetting. I'm sorry, how long I have been wetting this stone with spit and sweat from my body. It is smooth, very smooth to be so hard. Or maybe not. Maybe only what is hard inside can have such a smooth surface. Maybe my love of what is rough ragged, torn, is a love for the part that did not turn to stone. The day I looked back and saw the land I knew burning to ash and smoke dissolving in air. What I lost that day, what I left behind, the stone I carry under my tongue. I take it out of my mouth and rub it whenever I need fare through this realm the dead call the living. And so on we move to our next reader, Simon Lichman. He is the founding director of the Center for Creativity in Education and Cultural Heritage, bringing together Israeli and Palestinian communities through folklore. He has taught at several universities in Israel and abroad. His latest book of poetry, The Punished Wound, was published by Palewell Press in 2023. Simon.
I originally thought that I would choose one of the poems in this collection that I came to know during long afternoons in Philadelphia when we would share our work, Ron and I, that is, reading backwards and forwards to each other. But this poem about Daria called to me, and I realized that what I wanted to celebrate was what came afterwards. I hear the poem in the warmth of Ron's mumbling Memphis drawl, which I do not have. Above nothing, below no one, for Daria. The cold broke today, ice, snow melting. Oh, I know none of it's meant to honor the warm breath your voice brought to my ear. You sleep now in my arms, having grown almost too big to hold. Daria, my heart, I would hold you until a final flash ends everything we know and love. I measure our days by your laughter, each giggle another blossom in a flowering that will forever be crocuses in snow. May your home be scented with sandalwood, hallowing each loneliness for the taste it takes you into, the shared breath of all creatures, even dogs. I wish for you more than flowers, struggles that make you stronger each time they break you. Love you feel no matter how distant the source. May your tears bless you beyond blossoms into fruit. Yeah. Okay, so Sally Ann comes next. Sally Ann's work is published in a number of literary journals, including the Gwendolyn Brooks Journal of Black Thought and Literature and Tidal Basin Review, which nominated her poem AM 6504 for the Pushcart Prize. Medusa's Laugh Press published her handmade special edition chapbook, Walk into Water, in May 2000. Finishing Line Press published her second chapbook, Alphabet of a Nomad, in March 2014. And she is a wonderful photographer.
Oh, thank you, Simon. Can we, is there time for a quick sort of editorial comment before I read Ron's poem? Just quick. So I was a student of Ron's about, I don't know, 30 years ago, maybe 25 years. And he would give me exercises to do, such as write 10 stanzas, 10 lines each. And I would work my behind off doing it and go back the next week and declare that I had done the exercise. And he'd say, "What exercise?" So he was an incredible motivational teacher. That's how I experienced it anyway. So I'm reading his poem as if. Sometimes a man lies down in the weeds of desire, and without knowing how, but with help from the bent sweetness of pine needles and broom sedge, from ants on a bramble of raspberry, where 3 deer stood eating green leaves at dawn, A woman stands up, holding his heart in her hands, and she listens to it as if it were a thing separate from the man, as if listening to a gull flown inland, its wing beat echoing the heart's solitary call. More, I want more. The woman listens and is silent. She knows without saying why his heart, which she can hold in her hands, she cannot contain, as if he were rainwater spilling through her fingers. The next reader is KB Nemkowski, and I just want to, before I say what he gave me to read, to thank him for letting me into his dreams. A distinct pleasure. KB is the author of 3 books of poetry. His poems have recently appeared in Boog City, Brooklyn Rail, and Arc 30, edited by Simon. He's curating Book City's Poets Theatre this year. KB.
Mute. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Truly honored to be with everybody today. Honored to be part of Ron's event and book. Pleased to meet Camilla. Pleased to see my sister and from Florida. Pleased to see everybody here. Bless everybody. We're moving now from Memphis to Manhattan. And this poem I'm reading is called The Unknowing. He refuses the cloistered grove beside the hospice, preferring instead to watch the traffic, the who coming and going without time to acknowledge his presence. Perhaps he is saying goodbye to all that nervous movement, wondering at it all. What was that world I clung to with such longing? I mean, as if he stood on a train platform, waving without expression, even without raising his hand. The line at the bus stop is impatient for the bus, a seat on the bus, a co-op next door to the bus stop, where an ear, a lover, an answer to the question without answer. The crowded bus comes anyway, and we get on it anyway. And I cannot say who is better off. Next, we have the Dear Camilla. Camilla Reeve is a woman poet and novelist living in London. She has 5 poetry collections and is writing a sequence of futuristic fantasy novels for young adults. Camilla founded and runs Paywell Press, and delighted to hear her. Thank you.
Thank you, KB. That's really cool. And I'm going to read the poem called Singing to Everything Around Us. I have known the clarity of a persimmon tree, my back against the ridged bark of its trunk, sitting among roots reaching down into the earth. It is April. Green branches stretch and leaves grab the air. Some wave to clouds they no longer envy. One in a grove of trees in Nonconnah County, trees that remember little more than the carnage of men and yellow fever. There is an incessant procession of the sanctified and the damned, and death is everywhere, as are these moments, this lonely joy written in the book of hours. A noisy blue jay flutters and skits, settles and calls out, as if it were singing to everything around it. The starling intent on the jay's nest, a cutworm chewing the underside of a leaf, black ants climbing out of a well in the trunk. We are answering that bird, each of us, even the raccoon near the tree eating a katydid. I really enjoyed reading that. Can't tell you, Ron. But it's now my thrill to hand over to you again, and I know exactly what poem I want you to read. So I'm looking forward to that. If you unmute yourself, that will be good.
Okay, there's in Nonconnah County, in the northern part of it, there is a lake that was used by a couple of different Native American tribes uh, where they would go during summer just to vacation. Um, and it, of course, got taken by white men. And this is about one of the guys who bought Cobb's Lake from the Indians. The moon rising bone white, twilight busy with telephone wire, fireflies, and mosquitoes. A gravel road follows the incline down Highway 61 past a posted no trespassing sign. Willow and honey locust, cypress and tupelo stand in and out of the water. Three bats tumble and squeak in the dying light above the trees. A bass throb from bullfrogs drifts between tall reeds through cattails and milkweed. Cobb's Lake, where diamondback snakes and fish glide silent through algae and frog spit. It is not the autumn Ricky was 11 and I was 13. Early September, we went out in an aluminum water runabout, the two of us drifting between cypress knees near the southern end of the lake, night giving way to the dew that precedes dawn. We were drifting through the silence that troubles the air after the thin, shrill click of crickets is still. The tree frogs, quiet or asleep on branches above the water, innocent as the 8-foot gigs we held, poised to stick the first noise making a motion different than our boat. We started drifting sideways, hit a cypress knee, then a sycamore trunk, and a snake fell in the stern of the boat. It is not the winter of my 12th year. The February day I split a pack of Parliament cigarettes with Mike Durham. Fascinated with recessed filters, driven to fire in the smoke of our longing, we stole ourselves to the lake. Mid-afternoon, and an hour after smoking the entire pack, time stopped. We staggered home across frozen marshland stubble, the earth reeling and weaving until I tripped, hugging the ground hard. My father's house in sight, the narcotic light of bisecting the horizon of childhood with vertigo. It is not the spring. Greg Scott was 13 and I was 11. Late April. We made a path through gnats and kudzu down to the water. Evening fell in a sound we could almost control with the small stones we sent skimming across the surface of the lake. Then a noise, not the whine of mosquitoes, not the whine of mosquitoes, not the din of grasshoppers and crickets. A human moan we followed to an impala parked near the north end of the lake. White legs fell limp against the car door. We peeked through the windshield. The moan stopped. Phil Scott came tumbling out of his car, his pants at his ankles. He lunged at us and fell face first in the grass and poisoned sumac. It is summer. Old man Cobb is dead now for years. One story about him begins: Cobb believed in progress and city planning. He didn't need his contact in the comptroller's office to explain the profit to him in owning land where the city planned an international airport. Cobb went. Cobb bought a tract east of the river on drunk or idle talk overheard in the Peabody Hotel, and went to his grave holding the deed to a building site the Planning Commission rejected the day before he posted no trespassing signs around the lake. But that is another story, one of greed and the troubled house where it lives. It is summer, approaching August. I am 18, 47, 89. I never heard of Old Man Cobb. The lake he bought and fenced, he never owned. Illicit water, it was a place to go when the night was too much heat without an open window. These are stories too real to have really happened, and they happen every day. In one, I rise out of my body to find a way through barbed wire, down a gravel road beneath a bone-white cord of light, looping my shadow off the path where it steers between tall reeds, past cattails and milkweed, down to Cobb's Lake. Water of solitude, what remains unspoken, salt tears and gall, water conscious like the lake in a dream, water that redeems sand with silt, water of body and breath, voice of the dead, water of death, water stable as a lover's promise, water that listens to men the way men listen to children. Take pity on us, for we know nothing. Oh, thanks for coming.
Wow. Hang on, everyone. I am about to unmute you. And see if I can get. It's difficult to do these things when you're not techie. But I basically want everyone to unmute themselves. Let's see if I can do it for you.
I've done it. It's done.
Okay, that's beginning to look really good. Well, I'm thinking, along with, I guess, many of you, what an amazing set of poems we've been listening to. And I'd like to start by saying thank you to Ron for writing them, and thank you to Kate for helping him in the last while and me put them together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brava.
Bravo.
Quite something.
Brava. Everybody.
It's really lovely to be here and to be part of it.
This is an uninvited poet.
Thank you, Ron. My comment was inspirationally intense. Greatly appreciate it. You touched my heart. Thank you.
Thanks.
You too, Kate.
Thanks for coming.
Beautiful experience.
If anyone is interested in seeing Ron's book, Camilla is working on ways to have an American printer or English printer do more copies.
Shall I tell you how far I've got?
Yeah, we're working on it.
Blessings.
And I can send to the people that I invited, I will send follow-ups if there's any information on.
If any of you haven't given Kate your email or phone number and have joined for some reason other than an invitation, can you please put something in the chat or send something to her, because we want to let you know as soon as the book is available. At the moment, it's printed by Mixam USA, which is a printing company. And normally you should be able to get books from them. But when I went onto their website to try and sort it out, I ran into some technical issues. So I've put a support call in with them. And if that doesn't work, possibly KB and Kate can find a bookstore near them that will hold a stock of books bought by me and you can buy it from them. So bear with us, but do tell us if you've joined and we don't have your contact details because we would not want you to be unable to buy the book once it becomes available. So
Yeah.
here's the last minute scrabbling around by Palewell Press, but technical things quite often happen. So I'm going to stop recording now, but people can continue to talk and chat until Ron and Kate